Why do you think that prisons are seen as such a glamorous thing nowadays?
I feel like the reason why the prison system is seen as such an easy ride and such an easy experience, and they're not able to portray the effective message of avoiding prison, because prisons are firstly overrun, meaning that there's more prisoners to actual prison staff. The prison staff are inexperienced, unable to deal with the situations that occur, especially the amount of violence and anger that arises within the prison system due to the inequality that takes place. Like, there's so much inequality that takes place within prison. So many people were sent to prison unjustly, and it costs so much money in terms of taxpayers to actually fund a prisoner, that there should be adequate support there for prisoners to be able to rehabilitate effectively and to integrate back into society and the community effectively. But that's not actually present due to, as I said, the amount of prisoners that are in prison, the amount of prison staff that are inexperienced, and the lack of inequality that takes place within prisons as well.
Can you touch upon what specific support is needed in prisons for prisoners to get back into the real world and know how to deal with the struggle they may have?
Education is the first key, I believe. Access to adequate education that can actually allow them and allow prisoners to get decent jobs. There needs to be a reform and a whole restructure around the criminal justice system in terms of their sentencing and how that affects a prisoner when they leave prison. Whether it's a young female, a young male, it's very difficult to integrate back into the community or into the working world without having adequate education and experience. So it's very difficult once you have a criminal record that prevents opportunities that you've served your prison sentence and paid the penalty for. So I believe that there should be more pathways for prisons directly into employment, and the education should take place while that prisoner is in prison, so that by the time their sentence finishes, whether it's 2 weeks to 2 years to 20 years, that prisoner is equipped and has the skill set needed to be able to work effectively, whether it's a 9 to 5, a self-employed role, an apprenticeship, or volunteering. There's skills that need to be developed and some skills that need to be imparted whilst that prisoner is serving their prison sentence, so that when they come out, they're not left to go back to a life of crime or feel cornered, but actually have options of employment and are able to build a career that is effective and lucrative.
Do you think that prison sentences match the crime themselves?
Most definitely not. I believe that the criminal justice system, especially the court and the whole hearing and the trial, is all a big scandal, especially how much it cost, and in terms of, you've got paedophiles, people that are doing atrocious crimes that are getting less of a prison sentence than those that are perhaps stealing from a supermarket, or those who are selling drugs, for example, or those who are caught up in gangs and committing acts of violence. There are those sentences that are not actually matching the crime that's being committed, but that would vary in terms of the person and perspective that's coming from. So my perspective may vary from that of a judge, or from a barrister, or from a lawyer. And there is no real kind of sentencing for a lot of crimes. For example, if someone's murdered and takes someone else's life, the family that have lost that loved one, they're going to be affected for the rest of their life, no matter what happens. We work with loads of families that have lost children, brothers, sisters, and although the perpetrator may have been sentenced to 25 years, that family, after those 25 years, are still affected as long as they live. Reminded by birthdays, absences in Christmases and different festival seasons, other brothers and sisters' birthdays, and the community as a whole is affected by that person that is actually not here no more. So a prison sentence doesn't necessarily justify a life for a life. Some family members would easily say that 25 years is not enough for the deaths of their young daughters and young sons.
Jumping back to how life in prison is seen as easy nowadays, what do you think prison officers or just the prison system in general can do to switch it round, make it a place that people don't actually want to go to?
I feel that the work that needs to be done is way beforehand, in terms of before a person becomes a prisoner. There's multiple opportunities for that person, or should be there. There should be multiple opportunities for that person to rehabilitate instead of getting into prison, getting into the criminal justice system, which I said strongly is a scandal and it's a system that, again, is a business at hand, and is underrun and is actually a waste of taxpayers' money in terms of the amount of money that it costs to actually keep an inmate in prison, and the amount of money it costs through our programs and various programs and projects of mentoring and counselling projects and community projects and other grassroots organisations that we work with that equip and empower young people, that help them to avoid going to prison, that cost 1/3 of the amount it costs taxpayers to actually fund prisoners. So I don't actually agree with or believe that the prison system, especially in today, is effective. And I believe that the work needs to be done beforehand, because once you're in the prison system, it's very difficult to actually integrate back into society without having the effects and the memories and experience that negatively have an impact on you from going to prison, most often cases.
What is your opinion on homeless people doing a crime just to get into prison, to have a warm bed and 3 meals a day?
That's a very popular case again that I've met many people that we've worked with, that we've provided support for, that have been in that position where they wasn't able to get adequate housing or a place to live through a very rough period, perhaps winter. Predominantly, these cases are most frequently happening where people are committing crimes so they can get actually into the criminal justice system and get into prison so that they can actually have, like you said, free meals a day and have warmth, which should be provided to every person within the UK, and support should be there for them. And unfortunately, that support's not there, and these actions are committed so that alternative housing provisions can be made.
What do you think should take place in schools, education system, to teach them what the justice and the prison system is about?
I feel that it needs to be more real life experiences taught, in terms of when education is taught, it should be holistic and it should be relevant and it should be taught from actual tutors who have experienced those social issues. So perhaps a young single parent mother or a single parent father explaining the difficulties of being a single parent and how to avoid being in those situations and what you can do in those situations to be able to support yourself and different pathways to support. Also, I feel like there should be more opportunities for self-development and opportunities to build your self-esteem and confidence and explore business ideas, and to actually be given opportunity to be more creative within the education system. I feel like education, especially within the mainstream industry and within state schools, is that it's very restricted and it almost caps people's ability to explore their creativity, which would develop their skills and interests which they could pursue and which could turn into a financed business where they can be able to inspire and support other people, not only themselves but other members of the community, by living out their dreams, which would be a reality if they were given opportunity to be creative.
So just to evaluate, what is your final thing you want to say to the young people about the prison system?
The prison system is designed to keep you imprisoned. So you become institutionalized, where you become dependent and reliant on the system that is at play. You're told when to shower, eat, when you can see your family and speak to your family. It's a very difficult place to be in. So my biggest advice, and you could be there for not paying your council tax, or not for not paying your car parking tickets. There's numerous inmates that are in prison for not paying their car park, they've got car parking ticket, they haven't paid it, it's accumulated, and they've been sent to prison. There's people that have been sent to prison on remand, under investigation. You can end up in prison in a variety of ways. So one of the ways that you can actually avoid going to prison is to be mindful of the law at hand and how the law works. So being educated and having a firm understanding of how to abide by the law in terms of what you could do to keep yourself safe, and having also the understanding and knowledge and access to good representation, meaning having good lawyers, so that when you find yourself in these situations, that you have strong representation where you're able to be defended, and that's really important. I also feel that having a goal and having a plan is really crucial, because if you have a plan and you stick to your plan, it's far more effective than not having a plan and straying into criminal activity, or necessarily into, it could be unhealthy relationships, it could be, peer pressure, it could be being at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's numerous inmates that are in prison for murder cases, attempted murder, though they wasn't even on the scene or necessarily had the weapon at hand, but because they were there at the time with association, they've been found guilty. So it's really important to be mindful of the company you keep, and to be really examine the thoughts that you have, and to be self-motivated all the time. It's really crucial, because prison is a very hard place, and it's a very difficult place to be. And as I said, it is a system, and usually people that go to prison do end up going back to prison. So it's something that you want to avoid, and the best way to do that is to be self-motivated, have a goal, have a plan, stick to your plan relentlessly. And if you do end up in prison, it's not the end of the world. Bounce back, come back strong, stay focused, and just see it as a speed bump and as a learning curve. Let it be an experience that if you are in prison, or you're on your way to go into prison, learn from it, and let it be the last time that you ever go there.